We've got a questionnaire hitting the community, trying to find out exactly how much retail you want in your Classic Plus. And I thought it would be good to walk through this together and just clear the air. Let's just talk about the elephant in the room. First off, I prefer each faction to have its own hero class. If it was up to me, a better way to divide the classic World of Warcraft would be the Alliance, then the Horde, and then the Undead. So you'd have 3 factions all vying for control and conquering of Azeroth. I think that sets the stage for a lot more internal conflict on Azeroth so that you don't have to build a new island and zone every time you drop an expansion. And within that triangle of power, I think each faction should have its own hero class. So Shamans for Horde, Paladins for Alliance, and Death Knights for the Undead. I like factions to have unique things to them, and I think that's a fun way to do it. Everyone always asks me what I think about Horde Paladins. You'll remember that the Horde, and I mean the real Horde, not the Horde that you guys love. This is your Horde, okay? I'm talking about the old Horde. They were crushing everything in their path on their conquest of Azeroth, and one problem in particular that the Alliance forces were struggling against was Orc Warlocks. You know by now there's nothing orcs love more than a big old demon dick. Fill a whole cauldron full of demon cum and they'll lap it up and they get all red-eyed and foamy at the mouth and they go a-conquering. So the noblest humans were elevated to paladins in an effort to create powerful holy warriors to fight for the Alliance and break the Horde. And long, awesome story short, they did, of course. And so whenever you see a Horde running around with the silver hand tabard on, you can chuckle like I do. When it comes to Horde Paladins, at the end of the day, what are they? They're a balancing mechanic. But not all balancing mechanics are the same. So on the one hand, you have the Blood Elves, which is every Horde player's favorite race by a mile. Matter of fact, it shouldn't even be called the Horde. It should be called the Blood Elf Confederation. Maybe that's less true now. Who gives a shit? The point is, siphoning energy off of a holy being that you kidnapped so that you can steal the power to become paladins, and then that like holy drug use is kind of awesome, to be honest. And their little shields and red armor and stuff is badass. The big issue with polearms is that the polearm animations are awful. The chicken nuggets are done. One sec. All right, I'm back, and my chicken nuggets are on point. Crispy perfection. That's my chicken nugget. Not that little limpy mommy chicken nugget. The fact that the polearm animations have remained as awful as they are for as long as they have is actually an indictment against us, the WoW community. I think we need to start raising the volume up on the polearm animations. But Blood Elf Paladin lore, Blood Elf Paladin armor, Blood Elf Paladins animations, I mean, their two-handed animations are kind of sick, where they swing the sword around their back and jumping around. As someone who's been fighting for a long time, they're rowdy. They're a rowdy crew, and if you're gonna be a balancing mechanic, that's probably the one I would pick. If you can even look at a Tauren Paladin and hit Enter World, get the fuck out of my channel. Take your sub, shove it up your ass, don't ever click on my shit ever again. Okay, hold on. That's a little far. Listen, don't get me worked up like you do. This is no. It's ugly. It's sad. It's stupid. People were complaining of all the choices Alliance had for Paladins. Horde needs more choices. Apparently they just took a turn at the Wheel of Fortune and it landed on Tauren Paladins. They look ridiculous. Their animations are awful. Their lore is worse. Same with the trolls. Pretty much anything that's not a Blood Elf, I just can't do. Sorry. The first thing you want to see in Classic is itemization. Because best in slot cloth gear on your plate-wearing paladin is an awful, awful thing. I may be wrong on this one because actually I think a lot of the Classic community doesn't mind. I mean, the things those guys have done to deck their paladins out in cloth, and then you look at their paladin and you're like, dude, I would never play a paladin that looked like that. You look like a clown. How can you even play the game if that's what your guy has to look like? Most certainly, one of the areas they should have in every city, especially Stormwind and Orgrimmar, is a PvP area. And in that PvP area, it should most certainly have duel arenas. This is a great idea. If you're going to add new character models, you better make them toggleable. Because if you know anything about the Classic community, they hate how bouncy the retail characters are. They think it looks stupid and dumb and it ruins their immersion. In-game events always sound like a great idea, but typically they just turn into some massive Zerg AOE-Fest. I think a better idea is if every zone had dynamic events that could happen, Null invasions, undead uprisings, Defias gangs, whatever. Just some scenarios that have a chance of proccing in every zone that could go off. All in-game events ever turn into is everybody fly out here so that we can all hit the same loot pinatas. Gather up some loot so that you can get an in-game event starter kit, right? Whatever it is, a new mount, transmog. I don't think a lot of the classic community actually wants new abilities and spells, but I do think if you were going to bring up some of the classes that are behind, like Paladins, you're probably going to have to add an ability, like a Crusader Strike or something. One of the things I think they should take a look at in Classic is that it's really frustrating that you get absolutely nothing for World PvP. You sign up to PvP in the world, and you get out there, and you guys are just getting it on back and forth. People are dying everywhere. You've been at it for 2 hours. You look down, and your XP bar hasn't moved. I think you should be getting something for that action, at least XP, if not also add in some type of bounty system where people can turn in tokens for gear. The only thing you have to be careful with Elves is if you give them to the Hordes, no matter how much they yell and scream for the Horde, the truth is the majority of that faction would rather play Just Add Water Elves than touch one of the original Horde races. The second the Hordes get access to Elves, the Horde is over. An honor system redesign makes me sick because it dishonors what these classic players have done. Don't tell me you love World of Warcraft because you've got no idea what love is. Everybody likes to pretend there's all this game-life balance going on out there, but let me tell you something. There's a dark side to the moon here because I know a guy that's in that world, and he and I talk on the reg, and he tells me those AVs are full. 8 a.m., 2 p.m., 2 a.m., it doesn't matter. AV after AV of the same guys going at it, ready to break their unemployment off in your ass. I really like World of Warcraft. I'm for it. I want to see it succeed. I have a lot of fun playing it, but I don't love it. If I say that I love it, think of what I'm saying to these guys. I mean, just days and days of hopping into AV and not even playing AV, but playing it in a way that's actually the least honorable so that you can maximize your honor gains, and all you can do is pat them on the back and slowly step away. But I don't want to hear that you love World of Warcraft unless you've got rank 14 gear in Classic WoW. That's love. That's real love. Here's the thing with the WoW token. First off, it just really makes me sad that you, the WoW community, I think you have very unsportsmanlike behavior because you have never congratulated the bots on their total domination. Expansion after expansion, band wave after band wave, and the bots are thriving and dominating. And what do we know about the classic WoW community? They love to buy gold. And this is when its defenders come charging in. I don't buy gold. No, you may not, but you're a part of a community that buys gold. And I don't think you guys have ever told the bots congratulations. You've reported them, you've banned them for years and years now. And either Blizzard doesn't have the ability or they don't have the interest to stop it. And I don't think they should put the effort into stopping it. My rule is to never work harder than the people you're trying to help. No one has supported the bots more than the WoW community through the years. And that's why the WoW token has to come in. It allows Blizzard to profit off of it, which in a way provides a great silver lining because now they're making more money off of these classic modes, which then incentivizes them to create all the Classic Plus and Classic Plus Plus and Classic Super Plus that you guys want. WoW tokens should already be in Classic WoW, and not because they're going to stop the bots or discourage gold buying or hurt the gold buyers. The bots are going to thrive no matter what you do. But at least if people are going to buy gold, Blizzard can make more money off of it, and it provides a safe avenue for the players who are already doing it anyway. Transmog is a very hot topic, and actually a ton in the classic community want nothing to do with transmog. They want to be able to look at you and see what you've earned. Everything's earned. I don't know. Oh my God. Never change, classics. Never change. The good news is you can come in here and you can scroll through all the comments and see that even the classic community can't agree on any of this shit. You want to see what a nightmare being a video game developer is? Come read through these comments. I'll link this post in the description. Come look at the back and forth between every single one of these topics in here. And you will see very quickly that it's damned if you do, damned if you don't when it comes to Classic Plus. So if I was them, I would just swing for the fence. I'd do some crazy shit. I would redo some zones. I'd create some dynamic events, and I mean some nasty shit. Stuff spawning over and just wrecking stuff. Hell, make it so that the first 20 levels are hardcore. Once you get to level 20, you can res, but until then, it's hardcore. I mean, there's just tons of different variations where you could take certain aspects from different modes and swing. Dude, just go crazy. Because there's no MMO on the horizon that's even going to touch World of Warcraft. I don't see one. I think for the first round of Classic Plus, I would just tune up the low-performing classes, maybe have to add an ability or tune some talents just to get them to be somewhere competitive. It doesn't have to be crazy. Just being able to play new classes will be enough to make them popular. No matter whether you agree with anything I said or not, the best news for all of us is there's more Classic on the way. And I think there's a lot more fun to be had. And there's some really exciting things you could add into some Classic Plus modes that I think would be a lot of fun. We'll just have to be patient and see how all this shakes out and what they come up with. I'll see y'all out there. Oklahoma out.